I can see that there is so much work that we are doing with using what we have as a Department of Health. So I think that's what we have been doing, and I will continue doing that. But when we get the increase, yes, we'll appreciate that. Because in the Department of Health, I think we've been saying every time when I speak to yourselves, or when I speak even to the legislature, that budget for health is not enough. I'll give you one example of the hospital that you know, Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. We have 2,888 beds at that hospital. But now we have moved to 3,500 beds. But not a single amount of money that we get from those extra beds that we have now that are operating. So we're still operating with that same small budget that we're receiving. Same as other hospitals. If you can check the audit, which I can give it to yourselves, all the hospitals, the beds have increased, but their money is still the same. So we've raised that even with the provincial national treasury, with the provincial treasury, they are aware that health is underfunded in the province. But I think now, because at least we've tightened up controls, maybe it will help us then to get a little bit of amount of money so that we are able to operate. Because it becomes so difficult to operate based on the small amount that we're getting, because 67 budget to health is the smallest amount. Because if you can check the work and the things that we're supposed to do, there are more than that. Out of those 37 hospitals and CHCs that we are servicing, including the clinics, we're almost sitting around 500 institutions of health that we must cater for that 67 billion that we're having. So I think those are the questions that have been related to me. The coalition one, it will be answered by the partners on the coalition. Both. but for me, I think the relationship has been good on our side. We've been working very well in the institution. There is nothing that the colleagues are not supportive of. And that's one of the best relationships at the moment that I can praise and say proudly so. We are working very well with our coalition partners. Even in the cabinet, we're working very well. That's why I was so excited. In fact, both MECs, I was once a chairperson for agriculture. I was excited about the programs that she's doing because I was monitoring those programs when I was in agriculture. It's West at eGov, it's still my baby. I still feel strongly that the MEC have in fact escalated my programs and put them at a higher level with the little money that he is having. But again, we're still working very well with him because all the things that we're doing in the Department of Health of digitizing the systems are done with the health and the Department of eGov, including this emporium that is coming of now changing the hospitals to be like other international hospitals like your Turkey, because I see girls here are not smiling. We're going to bring Turkey here. That's why we're showcasing what you can do with the professors, including the men with those big bellies of yours. We're going to cut them because the professors are here that are doing the work that is done in healthcare. And Turkey, it's one now of the richest countries because of health investment. So bringing investors, especially because there was a question even on investment, sticking on the investment on health technology and bring investors is going to help the country because there is more money now that is going to come at home. In fact, even money that we young women and men, including the elders that have problems of breast cancer, and we will be helping them to ease up the pressure that they are having with that emporium that is bringing more health technology specialists, including our professors that we have in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ladies, the MEC has got you covered. We'll do a follow-up maybe before the MEC moves.
Okay.
Perhaps
yeah.
Experience the same thing as what Teresa experienced, and they have you identified them, and are you able to tell us which one?
At the moment, we don't have any investigations that we have, but what we have agreed with the Advocate Mutibe and the Premier is that if there is anything that we see, because definitely when there are issues, you will see the red flag. That's why our controls that we have are able to show us if there are any red flags. At the moment, we don't have any red flags in any institution. We sit every Tuesday with the executive and the CEOs of the hospitals that they're presenting of what's happening in their hospitals. So it makes our life easier to know where there are red flags. So we have not seen any red flags now, but we will still present to SIU, which is Advocate Mutibe. That was our agreement, that if there is anything that we see, he will definitely zoom in those hospitals. But for now, we don't have any.
Okay, MC, can you please take a follow-up from SABC so that when it will be done?
Yes, I agree with you, Mbali. We'll definitely need those. We have discussions even yesterday. We had a meeting with the CEOs and finance managers of the hospitals. We're identifying specific areas where we'll definitely need more money, more funds that must come to us. We will be presenting for the Budget Council that is coming in November. So we'll be definitely presenting so that if there is any money that we can be given, especially on the accruals, our plea has been for us to be given money to settle the accruals, which are old accruals that comes back 20 years back. So if we can be given money for those accruals, definitely it can make our life easier as a Department of Health. So in every platform, we'll definitely talk about that because we really need more money to be assisted. And we need money again for infrastructure because our infrastructure in the hospitals is old. Besides that, we need new hospitals, which we are busy. Davidson is going to start soon as one of those new hospitals. But even the ones that we have, some of the hospitals, like the OR Tambo Hospital, was built in 1905. So you can't expect a hospital that was built in 1905 to have a better infrastructure. I'm sure you have seen Gauteng Hospital, Kopanong Hospital. Those are the areas that we are doing renovations. But those renovations are not enough. So that's why we are crying for money for infrastructure. And I'm happy there is 100 million DG that we were supposed to be given by National, specifically on infrastructure. So we really need that money so that if we can get assistance, I know you're going to help us to make sure that that 100 million is transferred to the department because we're waiting for it. Our fear is that if we don't get it now, we get it in the third quarter, it's going to be difficult for us to utilize that money for the work that it should be doing, because that money is for the maintenance of the hospitals. So that's why I'm raising it, and I'm happy that Mbali are raising it. That it's unlike there are no initiatives of asking for money. But the money, once we get it, it must come on time so that it can do the work that we're supposed to do. But we really need it. It's not enough. The 67 billion, we need more, definitely.
Thank you, MC. MC Chilwan.
Okay, thank you once more for the question. The first one was around financial challenges. The department in the past 5 years has received 12 billion education budget cuts, 12 billion. So we're operating 12 billion less in 2025. That is the current financial status. And we're still getting cut. Because there's always this assumption that when they look at the figure of education or health, they assume it's money for other things. Actually, it's COE. And currently, we're not the only province that is experiencing financial challenges in education. You would know by counterpart in other provinces, they've actually in the rate, they have to rely solely on Treasury's intervention. So this is not really a unique situation for Gauteng Department of Education, but it's a situation that is facing education departments across the province, including the DBE itself. So we're currently embarking on the process. Of course, the PBC will come, but there's a engagement that is upcoming, the 10 by 10 between the Minister of Finance as well as the Minister of Education together with the provincial Treasury and Education departments to find a way on how best to resolve the challenges that are facing the Department of Education across the province. Because if it's not addressed, the system will collapse. We will not be the first to collapse, but definitely the virus will ultimately come to us as well. So one thing that we have done in Gauteng is to really manage our budgets and our finances quite well, contrary to our colleagues. So those challenges are there, but also, so obviously it will affect payment of our suppliers. I spoke in the statement around extended nutrition program. Extended meaning quintile 4 and 5, which is supported through the equitable share from the province. So if the provincial treasury or the provincial government has financial problems, it will ultimately affect this aspect which is supported by it. And this is where it is. But in terms of the grant, there is no problem there. So the challenges with these suppliers on nutrition are those that are on 4 and 5. But besides that, we have implemented different strategies to ensure that we are able to manage our finances as prudent as possible. Second one is obviously the need for more money is there. Is there? You know that our system is growing very fast. It's very quick. I mean, this year we have received over 130,000 new learners from other provinces, which have is an added burden on the added number and burden on the system. So meaning there's always going to be, we need more schools. And if we don't have more schools, we'll have overcrowding ultimately. So the need and the urgency of getting infrastructure it's a non-negotiable, and it's part of the commitment by the provincial government as pronounced by the Premier. So there, it's where we need more funding. And of course, if you build more schools, you need more teachers. So there is a huge room for more money. In fact, we're in a desperate state to get more finances to address some of our immediate needs. The MEC of Health has spoken about the coalition. I think we like each other here. We are greeting each other. We even hugging when we greet each other. So we are comfortable. There's no problem. Even in the legislature, there is nothing to worry. We passed the budget seamlessly. I think there are those who naysayers will say we will not be able to pass a budget. We pass a budget faster than even provinces where it's led by one party. We are very quick. So we don't have those challenges at all. You know, I think we co-govern with those that are in cabinet and those that are outside cabinet. We give them an opportunity to engage and contribute so that everybody gets covered in terms of their interest in their own constituencies. And the support for the municipalities, of course, is a question for COCTA. So I think we will just leave it to MEC Mamabolo to respond on how the municipalities were supported. I think those were mine.
Thanks, MEC. Yes, please, Haukali, let's keep that question for MEC Mamabolo tomorrow. He will be part of it. MEC Rapoport.
Thank you very much. I think my question came from yourself, Slee, from ENCA, regarding the FMD outbreak. The FMD outbreak is very much still on. You will appreciate that it is a national issue in that there are a number of provinces that are facing this issue, and in fact, that is what exacerbates the problem. As Gauteng, we are not in a position to insulate ourselves from the problem because there is cross-border transfer of livestock from other provinces that are actually in a much worse position than us. Provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, provinces like Free State, etc. Gauteng finds itself geographically in the epicenter of a lot of other much more affected provinces. However, that being said, as I mentioned, we have been able to deploy about 174,000 vaccines to various sites, affected sites all over the province. We had a resurgence of cases in Gauteng in October in one of the biggest feedlots, which was the Karanbi feedlot in Nigel, and that's what really drives the numbers up. But what you will note is that it is localized to that specific feedlot. We have also progressed in terms of being able to identify 2 slaughterhouses, one in Nigel and another one in Vereniging, that are ready to be converted and accredited into FMD-specific abattoirs. And what that does is essentially enables the processing of meat to continue, because as we've said before, once animals have been vaccinated, they are very much safe for human consumption. The question then becomes around ensuring that we have enough facilities to process meat and take it to market. So we are continuing to work closely with the colleagues in other provinces as well as in national government. You'll appreciate also that the procurement of vaccines is solely currently the mandate of national government. So the 900,000 vaccines that were initially procured were to be shared amongst all of the different provinces, of which we then received our allocation and have then rolled out that vaccination process. So, as I understand, there are already measures and steps being taken to resuscitate our local vaccine production capabilities, because that's one of the reasons that we've actually been choked and unable to resolve this issue at the speed and rate at which we would like to. We are bringing vaccines in from other countries, and at this point in time, we haven't been able to have the capabilities to produce locally to the extent that we want to. So that is also underway, being driven by national government and the Agricultural Research Council. And from where we stand, I think we are on the ground, as I said, even today, dealing with those cases. So the outbreak is very much still on. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take Mr. Lamin.
No, thank you very much, Mam Tetwa, for the question. One must acknowledge and really thank you for highlighting the importance of CCTV cameras and their role in the fight against crime. I can safely say that and confirm that we have reclaimed a small street through the installation of CCTV cameras in the CBD. Yes, we are continuing, given the budgetary constraint, we are continuing to install CCTV not only in the CBD areas but also in the TISH areas, which is your townships and formal settlements and hostels. With the partnership with Isandral, Stadium South Africa, and Voma Camp, we've got access in and around the stadium in Nasrec. We've got access to 400 cameras for the G20 summit. But this partnership will not only be used for G20 but for the future, because we also want access to Sandral cameras to feed into our command center, so that we are able to monitor not only the inroads in the towns but we also have access to their road network. So yeah, but we are continuing to also install in townships. We have installed in many townships in our province. We are not only concentrating in the central corridor. All your corridors we have been able to install CCTV cameras both in townships and CBD areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, MC. Colleagues, I think we've reached the end of our media briefing. If colleagues would want to follow up one-on-one interviews with MECs, can just indicate. Colleagues are here from the various MECs offices. We know them to assist with facilitating those. Thank you so much, colleagues, for joining us today. May I just remind you that tomorrow our briefing is starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we'll need to wake up a bit earlier tomorrow so that that even if there's traffic, we can still be able to make it on time. Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
Oh, so still, refreshments are the next.
Yeah.
Okay. Colleagues, you are then invited for refreshments next. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Chakaranda. Asambe wena siyebhara kuningi masambe ubona la